Good morning from the Arctic. That is the Arctic area of Texas. Coming to you live this morning from Dallas. Good morning. This is your first time to catch me live. Welcome. It's good to have you here. My name is Ronna Hardin. By trade, I am an editor, I'm a writer, I'm a writing coach, and I love to encourage you to share your stories with the rest of the world. So, it's rather cold down here. Been watching the news. You probably saw that we made the national news. Um, we have ice here. We had freezing rain that started yesterday, and so it continued on. We're gonna get more of it today. It's supposed to be a storm system that moved through just till Wednesday. It's now being extended through Thursday, possibly end of the day. So Dallas hasn't seen a week of frozen temperatures. Um, Except for 2021. It's been a couple of years. Um, we were prepared. Michael and we I went to the grocery store. You've been following me for the past few days. I went to the doctor on Monday and knew that the storm was coming. So both Michael and I went to the grocery stores in our area, stocked up on things. We were good to hunker down for a few days. Allowed me. Oh, here's Milo. Good morning, Milo. Yeah, I know. So we've been kind of locked in the house, including the cat. And yep, he comes. Hi, Milo. Good to see you this morning. How are you, my buddy? So we've been enjoying our time in the house and staying warm, staying busy. It's been a great time for me to catch up on some writing. I've been working on the morning pages um, and been discovering some things of myself and where my writing is at this stage of my life. And so I've been going through a book with you for the past few weeks. I've been sharing a book called Write for Life by Julia Cameron, Creative Tools for Every Writer. And so there's been some interesting information come out in the book, helping us learn how to sort of fine tune and focus our writing skills to then really produce something. We've got a project, maybe you worked on something during NaNoWriMo, you had a rough draft, or maybe something you created that you just can't find yourself able to just push past the line and take the next step of really seeing that into publication. That's what I'm going to help you with. So this morning, today's month celebrates the fact that we are in freezing temperatures and it's so cold here in Dallas, Texas. So it's my snowman month. Not enough to make a snowman, but enough to ice things over, make the roads treacherous. Or some neighbor kids were out yesterday trying to sled and bless their hearts. They kind of went down some of the hills and just sort of stopped. It's just slick enough to be dangerous if you're trying to walk out there on it. But, cold enough to keep things at a standstill. And so people have stopped the roads here. It's been amazing. Everybody learned from the last ice storm. We're all hoping and praying that the electrical grid down here holds. That's a problem down here. So we all hold our breath, hoping that our power doesn't go out. So you can be praying for that for us down here. Other things where you are. I have some interesting stories about this month. Today, I think I'll sit back and write about my memory of that ice storm because I have all the photos and everything that happened, so I can still write those stories. How many photos do you have on your phone? Have you checked? Would you be able to tell me if you're watching live? First of all, if you're watching live, please pop in and say good morning. You know where you're from. I love getting to chat with folks who are able to catch me live. Thanks for the few seconds you are saying hello. It's good to see you. How many photos do you have? Talk about a great way to get inspired. Sit down with your coffee in the morning, some morning pages, handwritten pages where you sit down and just write. Stream of consciousness. Allow your creative muscle to flex. You know, when we think about exercise and we want to go work out ourselves active so that we stay healthy, well, another way of keeping the creative mind healthy and exercised, do little things like I have, oh wow, okay, so I have stored in the cloud. Think about a story idea. I have 31,808 pictures. 31,000 pictures, guys, on my phone. How many do you have? Do you, you know, how many do you have? 600, 6,637 photos, Sherry? Okay. Wow. Wow. I need to go through mine and sort of organize, right? Let me see. Here's my killer. How many videos do I have? 5,262 videos. You guys, oh my Lord. 1,433 selfies. I love that. 19 panoramas, 20 time lapse, 21 slow mos, 40 bursts. See, I could probably get rid of some space going through that. 2,768 screenshots. I love that my iPhone, it itemizes all the media types. So have you ever taken time to look at that? Something interesting. And so I can go through and find the photos from when we had that ice storm and then compare it to this one. This one, by all means, is not as bad as the last one. But nonetheless, pretty frigid. That's going on throughout our country, right? So even just capturing that thought, right? When I post about morning pages, Julia Cameron encourages us that through the process of morning pages, we allow ourselves to let our thoughts and our creative ideas flood the page. And there's something tactile that happens when we write by hand and we slow our mind down to match the rhythm of our hand. It's amazing what comes out. It's amazing some of the ideas that you can capture. And that's what she's talking about. So I'm going to go over some highlights from chapter 3 in the book because this chapter is really interesting. We're in the middle of the book and she's talking about trusting the process, really trusting yourself and trusting the process. You know, when you build a home, the first thing that happens is you sit down with a contractor and they go over the blueprint, the plan for the structure of the house. And they show you all the electrical, everything is, we're having some repairs we're having to do on the house. We're still discovering things about this house. I learned the term GFCI. If you don't know what that is, look that up. So I have learned where most of the GFCIs are in this house. I don't know where all of them are. But as things break or stop working or have a little light flash that lets know, hey, it's time to check on us. You learn things as you go. It's a process, right? And so with anything that we tackle, writing is just as much process. You're not going to sit down and be perfect at it in the moment. And if you are, let go because we need to bottle that and sell it. But with anything that you accomplish, you need to trust the process. So that's what we're going to talk about in chapter 3. We're going to talk about trusting your process, your particular process, where you are as your stage as a writer, and what you're doing with it. Right, Mila? I love Mila. I love to sit and just listen. So here's a question for you. Do you trust your ideas? Do you trust that the ideas that you have are creative and actually create or produce something tangible that you can see as a product of that idea, right? Do you worry that your work isn't good enough? And if so, good enough for whom? Because we tend to minimize and downplay the gift and the talent that has been placed in us to bring to the others. right? We all have a piece of the divine in us. Oh, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. If that's the case, well, uh, oh, my daughter just messaged me. It's a message that was coming. Um, when you think about that, right? Trust the process. You trust that the creative gift that's placed in you is there for a reason. You trust that it's been given to you because you have the skills and the abilities and the talents to see it through. So I want you to try this. I want you to think about this. If you're watching live, I want you to do this. Get a piece of paper or pull up your screen, or if you're watching on your desktop, open a Word document or a Pages document. Do a little exercise with it. All right. So try this. What I'd really like to write about is, and do, I'm going to ask you this several times, and each time I want you to give me a different answer. Okay? What I'd really like to write about is, what I'd really like to write about is, what I'd really like to write about is, and don't limit yourself to just one particular genre or one particular thing. What I'd really like to write about is poetry. I love rhyming. Rhyming for me helps me break down some anxiety that I'm feeling, or if I'm having some kind of writer's block. I've had a really busy day. I need to sit down and just clear my head for a minute so that I can let the ideas flow. And it might be things like, how do I rhyme? What word you could rhyme with water? Daughter, slaughter, caught her. And for me, rhyming helps me sort of grab words. Because rhyming is easy. Rhyming is the first thing we do. We learn about groups of words and how they sound, how they're spelled. So doing that, that allows my mind to get creative. Just took a sip of water, got a text from my daughter. Before I had started my day, uh, trying to think of what I'm thinking live stream, because I'm doing that right now, right? So I'm actively being creative and trying to come up with ideas of words, and live stream is hard I'm with, right? Streaming. Streaming. Okay, here we go. Now streaming is easier. I took a sip of water, got a text from my daughter. I was on live stream pursuing my dream. Right? And that's a start. That's just a way I can sort of exercise my brain creatively. That's the goal. And you can do that and allow those ideas to come out on paper. And my business mentor, the one I always refer to, John Aker, talks about your goals, talks about writing those ideas down, capturing those ideas. He keeps them in a notebook and dates them, then kind of keeps going at his day. Then maybe in a month or so, or a week or so, or maybe even a year from now, he may go back to some of those ideas and find a seed of something that he can use to then write a book about, or maybe it's part of accomplishing goals that he's working on, right? So capturing those ideas. Fodder. That's a great word, Savannah. Fodder, right? So that's how you come up with not only great ideas, but great vocabulary words, expanding vocabulary, flexing those creative writing muscles. Okay? But you have to trust yourself. Trust yourself that that gift is there, that it's fantastic. But you gotta take it slow, because when you put it out in the world, you want it to be your best. So you want to mold it and shape it by My daughter Savannah is going to college right now, pursuing a graphic design degree. Everything she's learning step by step in the classes, she's been sharing with me how sort of building her confidence and building her vision for what she can see herself doing in the future when she graduates. Right? That's what college should do, is prepare you for the skills that you want to have to apply a career path, right? And gain that experience and knowledge. So it's the same thing with writing. So what I'd really like to write about is, I want you to, and put a blank, I want you to put that on a note, write it down in your notebook, right? Maybe even start your main pages. Today, what I like to write about is, I just noticed the ice pellets on my window sill right here. I'm going to take a picture of it because it looks really cool. And then I may write a little blurb about ice crystals or ice pellets. Or maybe I look up how ice pellets are formed and I write about that. And it's a lesson in weather or science, right? Don't limit yourself to a genre. Just write, just create. You can categorize it and decide where it belongs later. Um, I finally saw some birds this morning. I haven't seen the birds out. The freezing rain has been falling. But I see them this morning. Maybe I write about the red cardinals I'm starting to see. Ooh, a signal of spring, right? So today's the first day of February. We're starting a brand new month. See this as a clean slate for the month to really flex those writing muscles. So write that sentence down. What I'd really like to write out is, then allow yourself to dream and to create. Now, another aspect that she talks about, so I'm going to talk about a few things here. I'm going to talk about honesty. I'm going to talk about vulnerability. I'm going to talk about anxiety, jealousy, and humility, and patience, and discipline. These are all things that Julia covered in this chapter. And the reason why we're here is because if you've been writing for a while, if you're usually writing on a regular basis, I want you to start looking at and thinking about what your writing is showing about you, your habits, your personality traits, tendencies, things that, because it all reveals something about you and where you are in your process. So Julia says, honesty requires a desire for our writing to be of service. Questions to ask. Here's some great questions to ask yourself about your writing. Am I being honest? Am I being authentic? And am I being of service? Think about those three questions. Am I being honest? Am I being authentic? Am I being of service? Now, you can even do this in the fiction world. Are you being honest with your characters? Are there characters that your readers can relate to? Okay. Are you being authentic? Are you being authentic to who you are and writing to your style? Is it comedy? Are you a more serious writer? Do you like writing romance? Are you academic and a thoughtful, deep person? Do you want to help others by helping learn processes or methods, right? Are you being authentic to who you are? And then, are you being a service to your readers? If your job is to entertain them, are you entertaining them? Are they leaving that story going, wow, that was a great book, or that was a great story, great article, what a great blog post, right? Did you see her newsletter? So think like that. That should leave your writers satisfied. So have you served your writers well? This also requires you to be vulnerable. And Julia is a good writer, one who will write not from invisible strength, but from vulnerability. Okay, when you do this, especially if you're writing in your morning pages, if you're doing this on daily practice, what you will find is that you are revealing the human condition. You are sharing your human condition, and you are sharing the human condition as you see it in the world through your characters or through your words. And so when you do that, there's such strength in that. People get inspired. People are left with hope. They feel loved. they feel cared for, they feel encouraged, they feel motivated, right? You've done that with what you've written. Now, with this vulnerability also comes anxiety because it's a huge responsibility, right? And I don't know about you, but I have anxiety every day. Sometimes my anxiety catches the best of me, and I have to really work hard to rein it in, right? I have a therapist. Some weeks I message her regularly. Oh, I love that. You're not sure if it's just you, but the audio sound is really choppy. You know what, Tiffany? I'm sorry about that. It could be that we're having signal problems here. Let me see. Yeah, I'm looking. So let me see if I can switch here. Hold on, guys. I'll try some here. See if this works. Let me see if I can jump to. Yeah. Let me see if I can switch to another network, guys. I'm gonna try something here. See if this works. I'm gonna refresh the page, guys. Hold on. All right, guys. I tried refreshing the page. Let me know if that's any better. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I'm seeing my signal strength on this side too. So you guys let me know if you can hear it. Well, that's a shame because I'm really hoping that this comes through clear here. Dawn, if you're still watching live, can you pop on and let me know how the signal is? I'm going to try it one more time. You can hear you, but at times it's a little jumpy. Okay. Well, I tried refreshing the page 3 times. I'm on the strongest internet in my house. Um, so it's got to be the ice storm, guys. Really sorry about that. Well, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, it's still breaking up. Darn, that's too bad. Well, darn it. Technical difficulties always cause a problem. Let me see if I can switch this. This is any better. Wow. Okay, guys. Well, third time's a charm. I'm really, really trying to do this. So here's what I think we're gonna do. Um, I'm gonna move this to my business page on Facebook. Um, It's a bit glitchy at times. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully, edit this down. Maybe it'll make sense. I don't know. Um, okay. Yeah, I'm really, really trying to do this. So, guys, I'm so sorry that this happened. I'm going to try this again. Hopefully, tomorrow. Hopefully, the signal will be a little better. You can understand me. Okay. Well, boy, talk about something you could write about. You could write about this. So, as I was saying, anxiety, nothing like having issues live on screen, right? So, anxiety. But what Julia calls this, Julia calls anxiety banked energy. It is, it's banked energy. Having this glitch, having this technical glitch while I'm going live, always a challenge. Um, but she said, anxiety is banked energy. It's a mood, and moods are time limited and fleeting. For writing, this can be a useful fuel. So here's another sentence to write down, other than what I'd really like to write about is. Here's the second question. So if you ever come up against this, this is the way that Julia Cameron suggests we deal with anxiety when we are trying to work on writing or creating. I am anxious because. So I have anxiety right now over the quality of this podcast because the signal's bad. You know, when you prep a show, you get everything ready, you want to share what's going on as you're reading this book, as I'm walking through these writing exercises myself and trying to carve out time where I sit down and write. So as I'm working through this book myself, I'm sharing the highlights of the book with you to hopefully encourage you, if you're working through this with me or going through this process, trusting that this author knows and understands the writing process and is encouraging us and giving us tools that we can apply. So when she talks about that, she said anxiety is vague because a lot of times, and tell me if you say this, okay? Because I've said it myself. Um, you deal you deal with anxiety plenty. Your energy bank is probably overflowing. That's probably why when you do create things, Savannah, in class, you can knock them out the way you do, right? Because you're able to harness that anxious energy and focus it into something. Identifying why you're feeling anxious helps so much in processing of it, right? If you work with therapists, that's what they do. They try to get you to identify those things and then logically break them down into tangible pieces because you can overcome it. So see that anxiety as banked fuel and that you need to sit down, get off social media, get away from the distractions, find yourself a quiet place. I usually like to sit. I like to sit outside on our patio because it's just beautiful. We have beautiful views. I'm taking advantage of the view that I have from my office because it's freaking cold outside, and I'm not about to step outside. So that can be difficult, right? When you're limited to not being able to go outside and you're stuck inside all the time. How do people do it where they live when it's cold like this all the time? I don't know how they do it. So think of anxiety as a fuel bank, right? And all you need to do is calm it down by saying, all right, I am feeling anxious because whatever. Then what are some things you can do to help that anxiety go away? For me right now, it's commenting with you all live in the stream that are telling me whether you can see me or hear me, whether this is coming through or not, because dang it, the signal isn't low as hell, right? This is what an ice storm does. You often communicate with those that you want to communicate with. Um, another another thing that can hinder us in our creativity, jealousy. Social media can do this. We get jealous when we see other people doing it, writing it, creating it, posting it, going viral about it. I know that my stuff is just as good as their stuff. Why do they go viral? right? All of that causes jealousy. Julia says jealousy is a map. It's a map. It tells us with excruciating precision where and what we yearn for. It's a stingy emotion grounded in fear that there is not enough good to go around for everybody. That what God put in everybody, there's not enough good to go around. So I gotta get some because if I don't, I'm not gonna get any of mine. Where does that come from? And that's what social media feeds, is that FOMO. And it's seen as a cancer because it never gets enough. There's never enough because once you experience a viral moment, you want to try to replicate it because you got to get that dopamine hit one more time, right? So again, am I being honest? Am I being authentic? Am I being of service? Is what I'm doing helping and sharing with others? Am I being honest about what I'm learning in this book and things that I think could help you? These are creative tools that she's given us that can, release writer's block, take all of those hindrances off of you, and help you really create some wonderful work. Most of us want to take pride in our writing when what is called for is humility. When we write from a spirit of service, our writing communicates clearly. And when we accomplish that, the feeling that we get from that, right? We remove self motives out of it and really write from the heart of service. That brings our best gift forward. Going slow serves us better than going fast. When you write by hand, this helps calm the pace of your mind to match the pace of your hand, and the quality of your work will come through. I would even attest and say that artists who take their time, whether you're creating things digitally or you're creating things in a fine art medium, taking your time produces your best work. If you rush something and throw it together, I'm sure, Savannah, if you're still on the broadcast and you can hear me at all, you can probably attest to this. You say, oof, that part is hard. Right. That part is hard. Right? But when you see it as a map, when you see it as, okay, I want to produce great work that I can put out there with confidence like those people do. Right? Because some of these people, and some people throw something out there and it just happens to go viral. But most of the time, why is that? It's because it's an honest moment. It's an honest moment. They were being authentic and they're being of service because they're entertaining us in their genuine humanity, right? We really connect with those kinds of things. That's what we're looking for. So when your writing can do that, that could be a viral moment. Oh, I see a little squirrel in the tree right now out my window, and he's got a nut, and he's eating it while looking down at me. He's in the tree right up there. Oh my goodness, I see you, little squirrel. So fun, right? So again, when we go slow, when we take the time, writing is done as a daily practice. When you create your craft, you're doing it out of love because this is what you love to do. You love it, right? Savannah has a lot of plants. She's found this spark in her of nurturing and taking care of her plants. And so her plants are thriving. She's doing a great job taking care of them. I don't think I could have managed to handle that many plants. Although I did do it the years that we had the garden. But wow, was that. But it's exercise of love, right? It's another way that we show that. So when you do that, the idea of having to discipline yourself falls away because you're creating out of a genuine love for the craft. So it becomes a demonstration of our faith in ourselves and in our ideas. Again, do you trust your process? Do you trust that gift in you to come out? Now, I was telling you about social media and how we can really get bombarded if we let that sort of define standards for us. We also deal with imposter syndrome, right? The credibility attack. Well, I'm not good enough. I haven't done it long enough. I haven't suffered long enough for our art, whatever that is, right? I've been helping people write for years, but sitting down and doing my own writing, disciplining myself to create that time. And so going through this book is helping me go back to those pieces that I was writing on and really start sitting down with my mugs each day. And so I've been grabbing a mug each day and sort of thinking about that story, looking at pictures, kind of adding pictures to that page. I got a lot of work to do. I'm still organizing and taking I think I have 78 written right now, cups, but I still have to go through and mark the ones that I haven't written about so I can get busy doing that, right? It's a daily grind. I'm taking it slow. I want to. I've given myself the goal that I would like to try to publish this year. But if I don't publish this year, that's okay too, because I want to take the time to pay attention to the stories to make sure they're the best stories, and that as I put them together, there's a flow and a stream and an overarching story that I'm telling through the story of all my months. So that's going to take some time, right? And so that kind of patience, that kind of discipline is a daily thing. She says the credibility attack is a cunning enemy. It's not logical. It goes for my creative jugular, declaring always the utter worthlessness of my work and my worth. I'm not alone in suffering credibility attacks. She talks about her friend and her colleague, Sonia Choquette, is also beset by this monster. She has written over a dozen books. She has a large and enthusiastic following, and each time she finishes a manuscript, she undergoes a bout of despair and depression. I don't think it's very good, she says, but her books are good. She simply has bought into the credibility attack. No one has gone through your experience quite like you have. I've gone through breast cancer. There are millions of women who have gone through breast cancer. My experience is unique to me. So if I share my story of how I went through breast cancer, the doctor that I had, the things that we did during treatment, ways that I've tried to work on regaining my health back after treatment. I'm 2.5 years out from treatment. So all of those stories can help someone because I'm sharing my own human condition, my own perspective in that walk. So that's really helpful to people, right? So your experience is unique to you, and that's your credibility. I'm not going to line up your story with someone else and try to judge it that way. I'm going to value you for the work that you bring to the table. So the credibility attack is real, and it's a hard thing to get past. But remember, it's not logical. It's not a logical thing because everyone's talent is unique to them. We are seeking to connect rather than detach. Handwriting is therapeutic for us because our writing becomes more specific. That flow, that creative flow of writing by hand. See it as maybe even drawing, right? Even when you draw, that kind of creation with your hand brings out good ideas. When you do that, you'll find yourself in something she calls synchronicity. You'll find yourself in the right time at the right place, meeting up with fortuitous circumstances that appear to be more than coincidence. Synchronicity is the uncanny meshing of our inner and outer worlds. When we do those things to prepare ourselves to bring our best gift to the table, somehow we tap into the divine. I don't know how you define it. Julia calls it the meshing of the inner and outer worlds. As we write, we open ourselves up to higher forces. Some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. But when we sit down and take that creative time, we are letting that creative element know we are ready and waiting. The intuitive part of our mind, she says, is directly connected to our higher self. The input we receive is often a shortcut to our dreams and our goals. As we open ourselves up to this higher guidance, we are tutored in faith. And gradually, we come to trust that voice of our intuition as it speaks to us. When we trust that voice, we trust the process. Synchronicity is luck, but it is the luck that you make for yourself through your writing. Let me say that again. Synchronicity is luck, but it is the luck that you make for yourself through writing. Many a creative dream is well within our grasp once we accept the notion that the universe is a benevolent, helping force ready to fulfill our wishes. Right? Think about that. What I would like to write about is, gosh, she talks about so many things. Hope. Hope. I say hope because weather is uncertain and hope holds optimism. Right now, the weather outside here in Dallas is uncertain, but I hold out hope when I look at the forecast for the weather that we're going to be a high of 58 degrees in about 3 days. I have hope. Hope for a writer is a necessary companion. We write for love, not money, although we all hope for a goodly sale. So we write for the love of it. We put it out there. We trust the process, and it will bring back fruit. It will bring back fruit. Optimism and hope travel together, she says. When we are writing, we have a sense of the rightness of the world. Our will and God's will are aligned. We are co-creators with our Creator. When we put pen to page, we come in contact with the higher realms. Writing requires faith, firm grounding in the worthiness of what we have to share. Faith is something that we exercise and something that we increase through our writing. Writing requires optimism and it breeds optimism. Pen to page, we are bold. Faith fills the coffers of our hearts. So, what I'd really like to write about today is how that despite the technical difficulties of this live stream, I still managed to share this chapter with you. It's chapter 3 of the book Write for Life, Creative Tools for Every Writer, written by Julia Cameron, who's written over 50 books, written screenplays, plays, poetry, devotionals, you name it. This woman has written it. And she's sharing those tools with us to help inspire you and me to tap into our own writing gift. Huge, right? Speaking of great books, because today is February 1st, it is a new month. We are having a new book for our book club. Super excited about this one because it's historical fiction rooted in a great story about an amazing animal. So this is the book Horse by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Geraldine Brooke. And it tells a story in 3 different timelines. The story about an amazing horse called Lexington and his legacy of being one of the greatest racehorses that ever lived. Most of the Triple Crown winners, their bloodline can be traced back to this horse. So Geraldine Brooks has written a wonderful book about that story and about the Black groomsman who trained this horse and developed a bond with him. So can't wait to read it. Love for you to join us. If you would like to find out more about Julia Cameron's book or about joining our book club, you can contact me right here. Or you can even, if you're a tech person and you want to talk to me about the live stream show, you can do that too. Contact me right here, ronandarden.com/contact. I would love to answer your questions that you have about writing. If you've ever thought about writing a story, maybe you become inspired to do something, you got to sit down and have some content to work with, right? You've got to have something to look at, a draft manuscript, some work that you've actually written and put down, right? Can't work with anything, can't make a meal unless you have any ingredients. So If you have some writing and you want to talk about editing services or writing coaching services, you want to find out more and you just have some questions about that, let me know. You can also sign up for the book club here. I have 2 ways you can get involved. You can get involved by just knowing the monthly book, reading along with us and enjoying that. Um, and then for the next level up, it's part of a paid group that I have where you can join our live discussions and have more quality content and time with me. So you can join that way as well. And however you do it, what I want to do is inspire you to read great books and write. Write. Practice your writing. Flex your creative muscle and watch what is revealed through the pages. You never know. There might be nuggets there of ideas that you can turn into great stories, and not just on social media, but actually holding your hand as a book. Let me know how I can help. I would love to help you. And hopefully next week we won't have an ice storm and I can go through chapter 4 with you of our wonderful book, Write for Life. Until then, guys, thank you. You are writing a book now and you would love to talk and know more. All right, Tiffany, well, listen, drop me a comment, drop me a message here on this broadcast and let me know how we can work together. Yes, I do work with people who have written nonfiction. In fact, I've worked on several nonfiction projects. I can direct you. You can go to my website. If you go to reneeharden.com and instead of contact, put in portfolio. So just write in Renee. Let me show you the main website again. So go to reneeharden.com / and then put in portfolio. You'll see some of the books I've written on. I have to update the website because I've worked on a lot of books and I've got to get a person who updates my website. My daughter's suggested she would even take a look at it. But I need to update and add more of the books that I've worked on. So you can always, also through reneeharden.com / contact, you can schedule an appointment with me and we can get together and talk about what your writing needs are. So let me know. I would love to. Absolutely, Bonnie, you're welcome. Listen, we're all walking through this as writers. I'm doing it too. As I'm encouraging and helping my clients and answering your questions, I'm also working on myself. I'm having to take myself through these steps to create my own writing because, come on, I got to publish a book, guys. It's time. I worked on so many books. I'm getting a manuscript today that I need to work on. So I'm doing it, right? But I also have to set aside time for my own writing in the midst of my schedule. And I know you can do it too. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you for trusting me in this process of getting this live stream out. I hope you'll join me next week. Hopefully we don't have an ice storm. The signal will be stronger. And we can share another great cup of coffee. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.